Hello and welcome back to Black Belt Nutrition. Today we're going to talk about low impact training. You often hear, this is low impact, so that is so good, like would be preferable compared to high impact training. Is it really so? And no, our answer to that would be no, it's not really so. So if you're interested in know what's the difference between high impact training and low impact training and why they're missing out on a number of things if you want to do low impact training, I think then this episode will be interesting for you. So when we talk about low impact and high impact, it often is regards to cardiovascular training. And yes, there is a point with not overdoing, like running will be considered high impact training, strength training, wrestling, combat sport, American football, when you have impact either on yourself or with others. Low impact trainings will be considered like swimming, bicycling. Walking is a little bit between. There's a little bit of impact, but not too much. Depends how much you do also, of course. Rowing and those cyclic machines that you paddle on, those are all low impact. There's no real impact on the joints or the ligaments. And the reason why this is often recommended and often talked about, it's low impact, it's so good. It's because the risk of injury is lower initially. But what happens is that you will build up your body. You can get better conditioning from bicycling and rowing for sure. Cyclists have very high VO2 max and they are strong legs also. So you can build up your body, but you can only build up the cardiovascular system and the muscles to some extent. But the ligaments, the connective tissue, the bones, they are not getting any stimulus at all. So what happens is that you start to build this very fragile house. You increase your capacity, but the structure is very weak. So the risk of you starting to break later is very high. And later can just be later in your career or later when you get older. Because studies show that, for example, cyclists and swimmers have quite fragile bone structure. They even are often more fragile than a couch potato that sits down and do no activity at all. And of course, when you build up your bodies, you become faster and stronger, and your connective tissue, your ligaments, your bone structure is weak, even weaker than a person not doing anything. Then you're set up for injury sooner or later in life. If they don't happen during your career or your young life, they will for sure happen later. And in particular, when you start to get to the 60, 70 years old, this is a big issue that people, in particular women, get osteoporosis, weak bones, and they start to break themselves very easily. So with that in mind, I would argue that high impact training should be your foundation. That should be your base. You should rather run than bicycle. But of course, if you're not used to this, you need to build it up very, very slowly. You start with walking for months, then you do a little bit of small runs for months, then do a little bit more runs for months. You don't just start to run 5K or 10K the first week, because then you will break down. And for elite athletes within high impact sports like running or American football, of course, they do this so much, so you often hear about them getting injured. Yes, you can overdo it, because just as you can lift too much weight, you go to the gym and lift weights so often that your muscles degrade. They don't have the time to recover. And that will be counterproductive. And it's the same with running and other contact sports where you have impact. That if you want to go to the Olympics, you need to do it just on the borderline for what your body can take without breaking. But that's not an issue for anyone else. Still, it is an issue that we need to increase it slowly. Both within running and strength training, there's a magic number around 10% per week. You can increase the length of the time you run 10% per week. You can increase the number of sets you do every week for a certain muscle group with about 10% per week. You should not increase it faster than that, because then the risk of injuries increase dramatically. And if you feel something, if you start to feel joint pain, you just back off, and then you can do the cyclic things, the bicycles, the swimming, and so to still get some exercise in, because these are still good exercises, in particular for your cardiovascular system. But as soon as your body is recovered from the impact, you should do more impact training. It should be your primary type of training to build a strong body so that you can use the aerobic capacity, so that you can use your muscles you have without breaking yourself. So that was my view on it, at least. If you have any other thoughts or views, please feel free to comment or so. And I mean, this is information, training things, is not medical information. It's nothing to replace information you get from your health authorities, of course. Thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe, and see you next time.